Most of us spend our lives focusing on everything around us, what others are saying, what others are doing, what society expects of us. But tell me, how often do we truly stop, pause, and focus on ourselves? The truth is, when you learn to focus on you, not selfishly, but spiritually with the blessings of God, you will see your entire life transform. Because when you change, your world changes. My dear friends, life is not about competing with others. It is about connecting with yourself and aligning with God's purpose for you. The greatest strength you carry is within you, your mind, your heart, and your soul. Yet we spend years seeking approval outside, chasing comparisons, and getting lost in noise. Today I want you to imagine something different. Imagine living a life where your peace is not disturbed by what others think, where your growth does not depend on others' validation, but only on your faith, your focus, and your connection with the divine. This shift of focus from the outside world to your inner self is the starting point of real change. So often in life, we are surrounded by voices of society, voices of friends, voices of critics, and sometimes even the loud voice inside our own head that tells us, "You are not enough." These voices, if we are not careful, can become the very chains that hold us back from the person we were destined to be. Imagine waking up in the morning and before even saying a prayer or thanking God for another day, the first thing many people do is reach for their phone. Notifications flood the screen, messages from people, endless scrolling of what others are doing, and without even realizing it, the mind has been hijacked by outer noise. From the very first hour of the day, we are already comparing ourselves to others, already listening to what the world is saying, rather than pausing to listen to the still voice of God within us. When I say silence the outer noise, I don't mean running away from people or becoming isolated from society. I mean developing the inner strength to stay rooted in your own values so that the voices outside do not disturb the peace inside. Think about a student preparing for an exam. If he listens too much to others who keep saying, "This subject is too hard," or "Nobody gets good marks in this paper," he might give up before even trying. But if that same student focuses inward, silences those voices, and trusts his own preparation with sincerity, he not only passes, but often surprises everyone with excellence. This is the power of silencing outer noise, replacing fear with focus. Life is filled with people who will tell you what you cannot do. The noise around you will try to convince you that your dreams are too big, your efforts are too small, and your path is too difficult. But remember, God did not create you to be ordinary. He created you with unique potential, and that potential can only shine when you stop allowing the outside world to dictate how you feel. Just like a seed planted deep in the soil cannot grow if every passerby keeps digging it up to check whether it's growing, your life too will not flourish if you allow constant interruptions from opinions. The seed grows best in silence, nourished by the unseen light and water. In the same way, you grow best when you allow silence to nurture you, guided by God's wisdom rather than worldly noise. Take another example. In our workplaces, many times we face criticism. Someone says, "You're too slow." Another says, "You're not creative enough." And another might even say, "You won't make it in this field." If we spend our energy answering every critic, we will drain ourselves. But if we stay calm, focused, and committed to our inner growth, over time, results will speak louder than any critic's words. The outer noise will eventually fade, but your inner work will remain. It is like a musician practicing daily. People may laugh, saying, "Why waste time on this?" But when the day comes for that musician to perform, the same people who mocked will sit in silence, listening in awe. One of the greatest examples of silencing outer noise is seen in nature itself. Look at the sun. No matter how much the clouds cover it, the sun does not stop shining. It simply waits, knowing that clouds are temporary. In the same way, when people's opinions cover your shine, do not fight the clouds. Stay still, keep shining, and soon the clouds of judgment will pass. People may speak today, but their voices will fade tomorrow. What matters is what remains within you, your peace, your focus, and your connection with God. But here's the challenge. How do we practically silence the outer noise in our daily life? One way is by starting and ending your day with silence. Instead of grabbing your phone in the morning, close your eyes, breathe, and spend even 2 minutes in gratitude. Say to yourself, "Thank you, God, for this life. Guide me today." That small moment of silence becomes your anchor, and no matter how much noise the world throws at you, you carry a piece of silence within. At night, before sleeping, disconnect from the chaos. Reflect on what you learned, forgive what hurt you, and surrender your worries to God. These simple practices act like shields, protecting your mind from unnecessary noise. Another way is by being selective of whose voice you allow into your life. Not everyone's opinion deserves a place in your heart. If someone's words constantly bring you down, learn to distance yourself respectfully. Focus instead on people who uplift you, who remind you of your strengths, who encourage you to grow closer to God. The company you keep determines the clarity of your mind. If you surround yourself with people who only complain, their noise becomes yours. But if you walk with those who live with gratitude, who speak of purpose and faith, their silence and strength inspire you. Ultimately, silencing outer noise is about realizing that peace is an inside job. The world outside will never be silent. There will always be gossip, comparisons, and criticism. But you have the power to decide whether that noise enters your heart. When you focus on God's voice within, all other voices lose their control over you. And when you master that, you begin to walk differently. You walk with confidence, with calmness, with a light that shines quietly but powerfully. So, my friends, the next time you hear the world say, "You can't," remember the God within you who says, "You can." The next time someone criticizes your journey, remember that they cannot hear the divine instructions you receive in silence. And the next time noise surrounds you, smile, breathe, and remind yourself true strength comes not from shouting back at the world, but from being so deeply rooted within that no noise can shake you. Focus on silencing the outer noise, and you will discover an inner music more beautiful than anything the world can offer. We often spend so much of our lives searching for God outside, running to places, chasing rituals, or expecting miracles from somewhere far away. But the truth, my friends, is that God has never been far. God has always been right here, closer than your heartbeat, present in your very breath. The challenge is not that God is absent, but that our eyes are distracted, our minds are restless, and our hearts are too busy looking outside to realize the divine presence inside. Think about this for a moment. When you are in deep silence, when the world goes quiet, when you pause and simply breathe, don't you feel a certain calmness? That peace you feel is not just emptiness. It is God's presence revealing itself. The voice of God is not always a thunder in the sky. More often it is a gentle whisper inside the soul. But sadly, we drown it out with noise, with stress, with endless activity. Learning to discover God within you is not about leaving the world, but about living in the world with awareness of that divine energy guiding you from inside. Let me share an example from daily life. Imagine a lamp covered with a thick cloth. The light of the lamp is there, it is always burning, but the cloth makes it invisible. In the same way, God's light is already shining within you, but the cloth of doubt, fear, jealousy, and negativity covers it. The moment you remove that covering, through self-reflection, prayer, meditation, or gratitude, the light shines forth effortlessly. You don't have to create the light, you only need to uncover it. That discovery transforms your life because once you see the divine within, you stop chasing approval outside. You live with dignity, with peace, with strength. Every person faces challenges. There are days when life feels heavy, when relationships fail, when money runs short, when dreams seem delayed. In those moments, many of us cry out, "God, where are you? Why are you silent?" But the truth is, God is not silent. God is speaking through your resilience, through the strength you find to wake up another day, through the unexpected kindness of someone who helps you, through the intuition that whispers, "Keep going." Discovering God within you means recognizing that even in your struggles, divine power is working. The very fact that you can endure pain, survive loss, and still keep moving forward is proof that God lives in you. Another daily life example is seen in mothers. Look at the way a mother loves her child: sleepless nights, countless sacrifices, endless patience. Where does that strength come from? Surely not from her physical body alone. That unconditional love is a reflection of God within her. Every act of kindness you perform, every time you choose forgiveness over anger, every moment you lift someone else up, those are not just your actions, they are God's actions flowing through you. When you realize this, you start treating yourself with more respect because you understand that your body is not just flesh and bone, it is a temple of the divine. Now let's be practical. How can we begin to discover God within ourselves in daily life? It begins with awareness. Start by noticing the little miracles around you. The breath you take without effort, the heartbeat that continues without your command, the way your wounds heal on their own. All these are daily reminders that a divine intelligence is operating within you. Instead of rushing through your day unconsciously, pause and acknowledge these miracles. Gratitude becomes the key to feeling God's presence. When you say, "Thank you, God, for this life, for this breath, for this moment," you immediately connect with the source inside. Another way is through reflection. At the end of each day, sit quietly for even 5 minutes. Ask yourself, did I live today with awareness of God's presence in me? Did I act with love, with patience, with kindness? This simple practice allows you to shift from living mechanically to living spiritually. Over time, you begin to see that God was never separate from you. He was in your decisions, your strength, your lessons, your growth. Think of it like a musician tuning an instrument. If the strings are too tight or too loose, the music will sound harsh. But when the strings are tuned just right, the music flows beautifully. In the same way, when your mind is restless, filled with anger or ego, you feel disconnected. But when you tune your thoughts with patience, gratitude, and humility, you hear the divine music inside your soul. That is the discovery of God within. When your life itself becomes a song of peace. And here's the beauty: once you discover God within you, you begin to see God in others too. You stop judging because you realize every person carries the same divine spark. You stop hating because you understand that hurting others is also hurting yourself. You start living with compassion because you see God reflected in every smile, every tear, every human being. My friends, life is too short to live blind to the greatest treasure you already carry. You don't need to travel across the world to find God. You don't need to wait for miracles in the sky. You only need to look within, to your heart, your soul, your consciousness. That is where God has been waiting for you all along. And once you discover this truth, your life will never be the same. Because from that moment, you will never walk alone. You will walk with the confidence of knowing that God is not just around you, but within you, guiding you every step of the way. We often misunderstand freedom. Many people think freedom means doing whatever you want, whenever you want, without rules, without restraint. But look deeper into life, and you'll see that this so-called freedom often leads to chains. Sleeping late every night feels like freedom, until your health collapses. Spending money recklessly feels like freedom, until debts begin to suffocate you. Speaking without thinking feels like freedom, until relationships get broken. True freedom, my friends, is not the absence of discipline. True freedom is born from discipline. Self-discipline is not a punishment. It is the key that unlocks a life of dignity, peace, and power. Think about a river. If a river overflows in every direction, it causes destruction, floods, damage, chaos. But when that same river flows with discipline within its banks, it becomes a source of life, nourishing farms, giving water to people, sustaining cities. In the same way, a life without self-discipline is wasted in chaos. But a disciplined life channels your energy in the right direction, turning your potential into something powerful and productive. Let's take a simple daily example, waking up early. At first, it feels like discipline is a burden. You fight with the alarm clock, your body craves more sleep. You ask yourself, why not just stay in bed? But when you train yourself with discipline, waking up early becomes the foundation of freedom. Suddenly you have more hours in the day, more time for prayer, exercise, reflection, or work. You feel ahead of the world instead of chasing it. That small act of discipline gives you freedom over your time, freedom from laziness, freedom from regret. Consider health. Eating anything and everything whenever you want might feel like freedom in the moment. Junk food, overeating, careless choices, they give temporary pleasure. But without discipline, soon the body begins to suffer. You lose energy, you fall sick, you become dependent on medicines. On the other hand, a disciplined diet and regular exercise may feel tough at first, but they give you long-term freedom. The freedom to move with strength, to live without unnecessary illness, to enjoy life fully. Discipline in health is not restriction. It is the path to freedom from suffering. The same applies in finances. Many people spend money without thinking, buying things they don't need, just to impress others. For a while, it feels like freedom. I can buy whatever I want. But slowly debt piles up, stress increases, and life becomes a prison. Discipline in spending, budgeting, saving, investing creates true freedom. It allows you to live without fear of tomorrow, to help others generously, and to enjoy life without the heavy chains of debt. Now let's talk about relationships. Without discipline in speech, we may say whatever comes to mind. Anger, impatience, harsh words. They may give us momentary satisfaction, but they break trust and damage bonds. A disciplined tongue, on the other hand, gives us freedom. The freedom to maintain peace in relationships, the freedom to avoid unnecessary fights, the freedom to live with harmony. Discipline in how we treat others creates the space for love and respect to grow. But the deepest and most powerful discipline is the discipline of the mind. Left unchecked, the mind wanders everywhere. It compares, it complains, it worries, it gets lost in negativity. Such a mind becomes a prison of its own thoughts. But when you discipline the mind through prayer, meditation, or positive focus, you find freedom from fear, freedom from anxiety, freedom from constant distraction. A disciplined mind is a free mind. It can focus, it can create, it can serve, it can love. Think of great achievers, spiritual leaders, or even successful professionals in any field. None of them reached where they are without discipline. The writer who writes a book practices the discipline of writing every day. The athlete who wins medals lives a life of training and discipline. The saint who radiates peace has practiced the discipline of controlling the senses and the mind. Behind every freedom you admire lies a discipline you may not see. There's a beautiful example in music. A musician spends years practicing scales, repeating notes, perfecting rhythm. At first, it feels like strict discipline. But when the discipline is mastered, the musician is free to create any melody, free to express emotions, free to touch hearts. The discipline becomes invisible, and what remains is freedom, the freedom to create beauty. In the same way, if you master the discipline of your habits, your choices, your mind, you will be free to live a beautiful life. Now, some may ask, but isn't discipline difficult? Doesn't it take away enjoyment? Yes, discipline requires effort, but think of the effort as an investment. Every effort you put into discipline today creates a lifetime of freedom tomorrow. Discipline in study gives freedom in career. Discipline in health gives freedom in old age. Discipline in character gives freedom from guilt and regret. Discipline is hard, but regret is harder. Choose the temporary discomfort of discipline, and you will avoid the lifelong pain of regret. Self-discipline is, in truth, self-respect. When you discipline yourself, you are telling your mind and body, I value my life too much to waste it. And when you honor your own life, God blesses you with more strength, more opportunities, more growth. The freedom you seek is already waiting for you, but the door is locked and the key is discipline. So, my friends, never fear discipline. Welcome it, embrace it, practice it. For discipline is not your enemy, it is your greatest ally. It is not a chain, it is the master key. And when you understand this, you will realize that the most disciplined people are also the most free. The world may look at them and say, they are restricted, but in truth, they are the ones living without chains, free to dream, free to grow, free to live life to its fullest. Self-discipline creates freedom, and when you master it, you master life. Life is a mirror, and it reflects back to us what we choose to focus on. If we constantly focus on problems, our energy flows toward negativity, and we attract more stress, more confusion, more frustration. But when we consciously shift our focus toward solutions, toward gratitude, toward God's blessings, our energy flows into building, into creating, into living with peace and strength. It's not magic, it's a universal law. Your energy flows where your focus goes. Imagine someone walking with a torch in the dark. Wherever the beam of the torch falls, that is what becomes visible. If they keep pointing the torch at the mud, they will only see dirt. But if they lift the torch upward, they will see the path, the direction, the beauty of what lies ahead. The same is true of our lives. The torch is your mind, and your energy is the light. If you keep focusing on what is missing, on what is wrong, on what others have that you don't, then you will live in the darkness of dissatisfaction. But if you focus on your blessings, on your opportunities, on what you can create, your energy lights the path toward growth. Think about a student preparing for exams. One student focuses only on fear. What if I fail? What if I forget? What if the paper is too hard? That focus drains his energy. He feels weak, nervous, and defeated even before starting. Another student focuses on preparation. I have studied, I will give my best, I will trust the process. That focus channels energy into confidence and effort. Same exam, same subject, but different focus. One is paralyzed, the other is empowered. Your results in life are not shaped only by situations, but by where you direct your focus. Daily life is full of examples. Take relationships. If you constantly focus on the flaws of your partner, on mistakes, on shortcomings, your energy will turn into resentment and bitterness. But if you focus on their good qualities, their efforts, the love they bring, your energy flows into appreciation and the relationship blossoms. The person hasn't changed. Your focus has. Or think about health. If someone keeps focusing on illness, constantly worrying about what could go wrong, their energy drains and they live in anxiety. But if they focus on recovery, on small steps like healthy eating, walking, praying, and resting, their energy strengthens them and healing accelerates. Science itself has shown that the mind's focus can influence the body's ability to recover. The energy of focus is powerful beyond imagination. There's a story of two men working on a construction site. One man was asked, "What are you doing?" He said, "I'm just laying bricks. It's boring. It's tiring." Another man was asked the same question and he replied, "I am building a temple where thousands will come to pray and find peace." Both men were doing the same work, but one focused on struggle and his energy drained. The other focused on purpose and his energy soared. That is the difference focus makes. It transforms ordinary work into extraordinary service. Even in spiritual practice, focus matters. Some people pray only focusing on what they don't have. God, give me this, give me that. Their energy is restless, full of lack. Others pray with gratitude. Thank you, God, for what I have, for what I've learned, for another day of life. Their energy is peaceful, powerful, and uplifting. Prayer is the same, but focus makes the difference. Gratitude attracts strength while complaints drain it. Now, let's ask ourselves honestly, where does most of our focus go each day? On things we can't control? On people who don't value us? On mistakes of the past? If so, then our energy is being wasted like water leaking from a broken pot. Imagine if all that energy was redirected toward growth, toward learning a new skill, improving your health, serving others, connecting with God. Your life would transform. Because wherever focus goes, energy follows. A practical example is driving. When you are learning to drive, your teacher always says, "Don't look at the tree if you don't want to hit it. Look at the road ahead." Why? Because the car naturally follows your focus. If you keep staring at the tree in fear, you might crash into it. But if you focus on the clear road, your hands and your actions align with that vision. In life too, if you keep focusing on obstacles, you collide with them. But if you keep your eyes on possibilities, your energy and actions align with success. Focus is like a magnet. If you focus on negativity, you attract more negativity. If you focus on growth, you attract opportunities. God has given us a powerful tool, the mind. But it is up to us where we aim it. A magnifying glass can burn a piece of paper if you focus sunlight through it. That is the power of concentrated focus. Similarly, when you focus your mind on one goal with clarity and persistence, your energy becomes unstoppable. So the question is not whether you have energy. Everyone has energy. The real question is, where are you directing it? Into complaints, doubts, and fears, or into gratitude, growth, and God's guidance. Every day you have a choice to waste energy on what you cannot control or to invest it in what you can. My friends, life is not about avoiding problems. Problems will come. Life is about choosing what to focus on. If you focus on the storm, you feel fear. If you focus on the sailor within you, you find courage. If you focus on the darkness, you feel lost. If you focus on the candle you carry, you realize you can light the way. Your focus decides your energy, and your energy decides your